Hello, and welcome back to another video. These are proving to be a really good way to be in communication. And so I'm happy to do more. Let me know what topics. One thing that I've been connecting with people about recently is productivity. People want to get more done. They can tell that they're not realizing their full potential. And when I speak to them, what I find out is often in the way is some little fear, or maybe a big fear, something that's blocking the road to just moving forward. And this could be anything from dread of what's to come, of course, or blaming yourself or somebody else that gets in the way of progress. You might be intimidated by the prospects ahead or the people you have to deal with. Stress, there's fear. That's what stress is. We could go on. There are all these things. Even boredom is a kind of fear, how you're going to fill the space. So even in the Bible, this is not just pop psychology, but it goes way back. People have noticed, 1 John chapter 4, verse 18, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out all fear. So you're either in fear or you're in love. So this is great, just to know it's that simple. Out there in nature, you're either one or the other. So if you detect some low-level fear, what there's to do is to get back into love, and we'll talk about just exactly how to do that. 6 steps. Real great in just a moment. So let's take an example. Let's say you're prepping for a meeting coming up, and you're wondering, how am I going to get my point across? And then you realize, I'm not really productively prepping for the meeting. I'm sucking in my thumb, chewing my thumb, and worrying about what people think of me in that group. Okay, you see, that's what's proving unproductive. Now, not only, by the way, does fear get in the way of productivity in this way, but it also has you not playing full out because you're fearful. You don't jump into the pool playing full out because you're afraid of the depth of the water or something. And also, it's preventing you from trying brand new things. So these are the other ways that the fear is what's getting in the way of our productivity and a lot of the time. So take a deep breath. Once you realize it's guilt or stress or blame or intimidation, it's some kind of fear, take a deep breath and just follow the 6 steps that I'm about to give you, and you'll start coming up with fresh ideas, new ways to communicate, and solutions will just bubble up inside of you for moving forward. By the way, everybody's got these fears. So don't go making yourself wrong or anybody else wrong about the fact that you have the fear. And don't try and get rid of it either. It's a perfectly natural human experience. And usually it's pointing the way to growth and expansion in your life. So here are the 6 steps. First thing is name the fear. Take out your notebook, take out your journal, take a moment and write it out. Write it out. I'm afraid Jim won't like me. Or I'm afraid if I don't do this deal, I'm going to go broke. Whatever it is, write it down in a sentence. I'm scared that I might be missing something, like that, okay? Second step is to identify the specific influences that this fear has on you and other people. Well, it's because of this trepidation that I'm being defensive with these folks rather than open and creative and working together. Or it's because I'm so afraid of what she'll say that I keep avoiding this woman, etc. Okay, write down the impact. Oh, and also on them. What's the fear? Well, she doesn't get to know the solutions I have to offer in our committee meeting that we have together. Write down the impact on the other people as well. Okay, now it's important that you feel it fully. Feel the fear in you. It'll only take a minute, but you gotta actually touch it. Let it come over you. This is the only way that you can flush it out. If you just keep stuffing it away and go for the solution, it'll just keep coming back. So you gotta actually let yourself feel it. Like, feel the butterflies in your tummy, or feel how nervy it makes you, or the nauseousness, or just wherever it is, the heat in your system that comes up with this fear. You got to let yourself feel it and say it, like express it, like, my gosh, I didn't realize I was so scared. Say it out loud. Write it down. It's got to get expressed, or it's just going to keep coming back. Okay. Now, the next thing is get down to the belief that's behind that fear. Well, I believe that if I screw up in this meeting, I'm going to lose my job. Or, if I don't say the right thing to her, I could blow my last chance at a romance. Whatever it is, write down what that underlying fear is. A belief is, that makes that fear so important. Oftentimes, by the way, once you get to the belief and you express it, you realize, oh, that's ridiculous. Sometimes not, and that's important. Now, here's how to clear it. The next step is to clear that fear and its accompanying belief. So one, the most powerful way is to express it with the people that it's impacting. Go to that meeting and say, gosh, I've been holding back telling you guys my ideas because I'm intimidated by you all. And I'm giving that up right now. Tell the persons that you're clearing this with, I'm giving it up right now. Then they'll hold you accountable not to continually giving it up. But it's important that you express it to them, clean it up, declare who you're going to be going forward. Like, I'm going to be a contributing member of this committee and stop sitting over here in the corner quietly being intimidated by you. Okay? Another thing that you can do, which is really effective, is to write out the whole story, where this fear came from, what you believe will happen, what other people have said about it, the influences the evidence you have for it from the past. Write all that out, and then take that piece of paper that you've written it on and ritualistically burn it up. Light a fire, burn it up. Tell yourself in a visual way, I'm rid of this fear. Find some other way, okay, to ritualistically give it up, let it go, burn it up. Okay, last piece, and then you'll be back in love, is that replace that fear. Replace that fear with an action that the fear has been presenting. Like, go in and hug that person that you're intimidated by. Or you might declare it in prayer to God that, I'm being your loving servant, and I'm giving this fear that's preventing me from living up to my full potential up right now in front of you, God. Find some way, some action to take. Like, well, if I were living in fear that my neighbors, don't like me, I wouldn't go over there with a freshly baked pie. So I'm going to do that. And then you will have moved beyond the fear. So those 6 steps: name it, write this down, identify the specific influences, feel it fully, very, very, very important. Get down to the belief that's underneath that fear, and then clear it away in some way that you just like it's visually and sensorially obvious to you. You have to like show yourself you're giving it up, and then finally replace it with a loving action. Okay, so practice these steps whenever you notice any fear-based thoughts holding you back from being productive, and actually measure the difference that it makes. Like, use these 6 steps for a whole week and measure how many widgets you produce or how many phone calls you make. Get real concrete with yourself about the difference that it is actually making. And then call me and let me know, or write me at martin@listeningisthekey.com. martin@listeningisthekey.com. And let me know, especially if it's not working for you, let me know. And if it is, of course, I'd love to hear that too. All right. Practice.